I'm Dan Davidson.
And I'm Bill Smith, and it's time for the news from TrekNews.net. Spanning the Alpha Quadrant. For all the news on all the Star Trek shows. It's TrekNews.net.
The barbecue sauce.
Online at TrekNews.net. You sound like you were like passing a kidney stone just then.
I was passing something.
Well, welcome everybody to the first of the broken out Trek News, the news from TrekNews.net segments that we're running as its own sub show of Trek Geeks. As you can see, this has appeared in your podcast feed without you having to do anything, which is the best part. Magic. You're magical, Dan.
Thank you.
Your face is magical. But
there it is.
First up, the premiere of Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is approaching fast, and the latest news about the cast was, without question, a welcome surprise.
Absolutely welcome. Absolutely huge news, and a complete surprise to me that they were introducing new cast this season at all. I had no idea it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And not just any cast. The upcoming third season of Star Trek Discovery will feature the franchise's first transgender and non-binary characters. Blue Del Barrio will play Adira. I'm thinking that's how you're going to pronounce it. I'm going to go with that. Adira. It sounds good.
It is.
Yeah, okay. The Star Trek's first non-binary character, who is, quote, highly intelligent with a confidence and self-assurance well beyond their years, end quote. And Ian Alexander will play Gray, a transgender character who is a, quote, empathetic, warm, and eager to fulfill his lifelong dream of being a Trill host, end quote. So on top of that, we're going to see Trill Bill. Kill Bill.
Isn't that a Quentin Tarantino movie? I was going to say, but then you ruined it with the actual Quentin Tarantino movie name.
Sorry. Anyway, Michelle Paradise, co-showrunner and executive producer, said, quote, Star Trek has always made a mission of giving visibility to underrepresented... Okay, let's try that again.
Underrepresented.
Michelle Paradise, co-showrunner and executive producer, said, quote, Star Trek has always made a mission of giving visibility to underrepresented communities because it believes in showing people that a future without division on the basis of race, gender identity, or sexual orientation is entirely within our reach, end quote. Oh, I'm going to quote some more. It's another quote here. Here we go. We take pride in, thank you. We take pride in working closely with Blue Del Barrio, Ian Alexander, and Nick Adams at GLAAD to create the extraordinary characters of Adira and Gray and bring their stories to life with empathy, understanding, empowerment, and joy, end quote. And I got to say, man, on a personal level, as the proud parent of a transgendered son, I could not be more happy with this announcement. And as Max said when I sent him the link, F yes. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% cool. It's about damn time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I was watching the Star Trek Day panels today with George Takei and Rod Roddenberry, hosted by Will Wheaton. And George was talking about growing up, in his life and then becoming an actor in Hollywood, and how most of his adult life he was closeted.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, how the times have changed and how great it is now that Star Trek can bring some of this representation to the fore, as it has always tried to do. But especially in days like these, I think it's amazing.
I think it's great. I mean, we saw when Discovery first aired, they broke the barrier for gay couples. Of course. And now this. And like I said, this was this came out of left field for me. I had no idea this was being planned. They kept this one under wraps really well. And I think it's great that they did because it made the announcement that much more enjoyable. So another reason to look forward to season 3 in just a few weeks.
I know, October 15th. Can't wait. We're more on that coming up. But Dan, up next, I have 3 words for you.
Uh-oh.
Star Trek wines.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go somewhere else. That does sound good, doesn't it, buddy?
I think I know which 3 words you were thinking of, and those are in my mind, too.
The first word is go. Anyway. We're very happy to see that our friends over at Star Trek Wines have not 1, but 2 new wines that are available to purchase right now over at, interestingly enough, StarTrekWines.com.
How about that?
I know. First up is a Federation Special Reserve Sauvignon Blanc. Now, this wine is what I would call the sister wine to the previously released Federation Special Reserve Old Vine Zinfandel. How you doing over there?
You can say Sauvignon Blanc, but not underrepresented or Trek Geeks.
You know, the mind does what the mind does.
Mine is a terrible thing in your case.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Yes, the sister wine of the previously released Old Vine Zinfandel, which Sue and I absolutely love. We've gone through several bottles since it was released. I think that this is going to be a favorite of any white wine drinker. And if you're ready to put duty and honor to the test, you can also order the new Klingon blood wine. Now, this is a very special Cabernet Sauvignon, which I'm sure tastes just as good as it looks. And it really has a unique bottle design too, Bill. They used a special silkscreen process with a unique mesh texture to provide a really authentic look and feel. And then each bottle is actually hand-filled and expertly wax-dipped, which you don't see on wines all that often these days. And in addition, there are some unique Klingon sayings on 4 different corks used in bottling, all celebrating the Klingon culture and language. So kapla, my friend, drink up.
Oh, I'm sure that that's going to be very awesome to get. I might have to get me 4 different bottles of Klingon blood wine.
Or keep ordering them until you get all 4.
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
Or depending on how you look at it.
It's not my problem.
It's not my problem either.
Not my problem.
No, I'm all in for this. I'm glad that this product is expanding. I did like the last set of wines they had, although I did like the Federation Special Reserve a little more than the Chateau Picard.
So did I.
But I'm glad to see them. I'm glad to see there's been enough demand for them to continue doing this. That's really what makes me happy.
I'm very happy about it. You know, they've had different companies have had the different types of alcohol. They've had the Jim Kirk whiskey or bourbon, I believe.
The bourbon, yeah.
The 10 Forward vodka. And I've never tried either of those, and I've always wanted to. So I'm glad that the wine is available to ship here to New Hampshire, which is always good. I love the first 2. Like you said, the Special Federation Reserve is our favorite. But I'm not a white wine drinker, but I'm going to try the Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc.
Trek keeps.
Exactly.
Next up, Dan, as we celebrate Star Trek Day this week, and of course our friends at FanSets have a whole lot of new pins announced today, but they also have a monthly blog, and they need your help. And I don't mean you, Dan. I mean everybody listening.
They need everybody's help in deciding what to do with the upcoming Star Trek Voyager 25th Anniversary Collector's Edition. You see, it seems that the black frames that they've been using for past collector sets are actually no longer available. So they want to know from you, their customers, what they should do to resolve this dilemma. Now, every month over at fansets.com, Joe puts out a great blog, and the most recent one, he wants to hear from you. So head on over to fansets.com, click on the Pinsider monthly blog link, and then click on the one that says Star Trek Day. In that blog, there's going to be a survey for the Voyager 25 collection. Do you want them to sell it to you with the pins and familiar mounting board and let you get your own frame? Or do you want them to put it together for you using an identical frame as before, but white instead of black? You're going to help decide the final decision for this amazing collection. So head on over to the website and cast your vote today, because it is almost voting season anyway. So this is important stuff. So yeah.
No, it's this is something we didn't anticipate would be a thing. I mean,
right.
You assume that because those frames are pretty much everywhere, those sort of 12 by 12 shadow boxes, who would think the manufacturer wouldn't have them? But in times like these, I mean, I could see where they may be short on product. So I get it.
I'm thinking, you know what? Joe does the blog. Maybe they should just buy a whole bunch of white ones. He should get some black paint and maybe do some work.
Well, that would be a first for Joe.
That would.
Yeah. Just kidding, Joe. Love you, buddy.
Kidding, buddy.
No, and if everybody heads on over to fansets.com and clicks on the Pinsider blog, you can vote. I just did as Dan was talking. That's not because Dan's boring. I mean, he is, but I wanted to be sure to get my vote in because that's a set I'm absolutely going to get.
Oh yeah,
and I look forward to seeing what they do. So
you gonna say what you voted for?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to skew the ballot box.
There you go. Oh, that's very nice of you.
I'm a professional.
Professional what?
That remains to be seen. Dan, next in news, some developments today as we record this on Star Trek Day. It appears that the long-awaited and long ago announced new official Star Trek podcast is going to arrive September 14th, finally.
That's right around the corner. Yeah.
It is right around the corner.
Right around the corner as we record. It was initially going to be called The Prime Directive when it was first announced a little over a year ago. But now you're going to be listening next week on September 14th to The Pod Directive. I like that little play on words. It's kind of cute.
It's cute.
It's very, very exciting news. Lower Deck star Tawny Newsome will be hosting the show, along with actor and comedian Paul F. Tompkins. So I have not had a chance to really dig into what they're going to be talking about, if they've actually released anything for what their first show is going to be like. But I'm really looking forward to this. I got to tell you, I have fallen in love with Tawny Newsome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to hear her doing this podcast, since I'm now so used to her as Mariner.
Well, two things. We're going to talk to a lot of Star Trek luminaries and celebrity super fans and behind-the-scenes creative professionals, which will be kind of cool. With Tawny and Paul Tompkins, I can imagine it's going to be incredibly witty. Because Paul, who is on both BoJack Horseman and Comedy Bang Bang. And by the way, Fark from 5 Year Mission single-handedly got him a role in Star Trek Lower Decks.
There you
go. For season 2. So all because he tweeted Mike McMahon. So Paul F. Tompkins coming to Lower Decks at some point.
That's awesome.
So yeah, here's my only hope for this, and I'm on board, is that it's better than the last official Star Trek podcast, which was not great.
No, I have to 100% agree. It was much too politicized, I think, and whether you liked it or dislike it, everybody has their opinions. That's fine. I am looking at some stuff. See, I can do a couple things at the same time when Bill is talking, because quite honestly, he is boring. And I did see that there are going to be some. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding, Bill. There's going to be some great guests coming up on the podcast, like Michelle Hurd from Star Trek Picard, Mike McMahon, who you just mentioned, of course, a creator and executive producer and showrunner of Star Trek Lower Decks,
former guest of Discovering Trek and Trek Geeks.
That's true. I'm glad you threw that in there.
We got him first.
We did. That's right. Tawny. And other notable, Jeff Russo, who is, of course, the brilliant composer for Star Trek Picard and Star Trek short treks, as well as, other stuff. Just going to throw that out there.
Kendra James, the managing editor of StarTrek.com, Tig Notaro from Star Trek Discovery, whole bunch of people. So I can imagine that it's going to be an interesting conversation every week. And those are the best, really, interviews or actual conversations.
They really are.
That's really what's going to be great. So best of luck to them. You can find the show on iTunes now. Subscribe now, because you can, and episodes start dropping September 14th. Once again, Trek Geeks, not the official podcast of the Star Trek franchise. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Dan, it looks like, based on today's panels, and especially the Lower Decks panel, we're going to see a familiar character on Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yeah, this was another thing that came out of left field. Of course, Star Trek Day is celebrating all these great things. So there was a late season trailer that came out today for Lower Decks. And in one of the scenes, very quick, a very familiar robed individual showed up who just happens to go by the name of Q. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Delancey is going to reprise the role for the first time since 2001's Q2 over on Voyager. So that's kind of cool. Now, what else is cool about this is it's not going to be a big thing. It's not going to be an episode, centered around him. He's just going to show up, probably snap his fingers, flash once or twice. Well, not flash, because that would be kind of gross. But he's done that on Next Generation, so we don't need to see any more of that, John.
We've been there.
But kind of cool. The trailer itself was pretty neat. I thought I saw some Gorn in there, but John Delancey back in the Star Trek universe where he belongs. So I'm very excited about that.
It'll be nice to have a Delancey cameo, because that's really what this is going to amount to. Yep. And who knows what else we'll see in that episode. I mean, it looks like there's going to be a whole lot of stuff in the remainder of the season, so that's pretty exciting.
It is exciting. Another thing that was mentioned today during this release of the trailer is that 3-time Star Trek guest star and one of the guest stars of my all-time favorite Voyager episode, Kurtwood Smith, is going to be in an upcoming is going to have a role of voicing an alien in an upcoming season. So it's good to have him back also. He's just phenomenal. Love him.
There's just so much they can do in this environment because there's so much freedom. I mean, it was the same thing on the animated series in the 70s. I mean, they could really go to some super strange new worlds.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing the same thing on Lower Decks too. So I'm really happy about that. Dan, lastly in news, and probably the biggest story of the week, the thing I'm going to call the best new thing of the week. As of today, a Star Trek Day, there was a brand new trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 3 introduced by Sonequa Martin Green herself. And oh boy.
Oh, we're going to party like it's 3188, man. That's all I got to say. Because that's the year that they all jumped to at the end of Season 2. Spoiler alert. Very excited about this trailer. Some good stuff in it. We got to see some new characters. I guess there's a new cat. And
I guess there's a new cat.
New cat, yeah. And I guess the team's going to find out that they're in a galaxy where an event known as the Burn served as the catalyst for the Federation's near collapse. So lots of fast action in this trailer. And Bill, I got to say, I think the thing that I liked the most, which is kind of dark, was the crash scene at the beginning of that trailer with Discovery crashing on that planet and then showing it like embedded in the rubble was pretty awesome. The special effects for Discovery have just been so top-notch, and it looks like it's going to continue.
Yeah. Now, before people say, hey, wait, that's a spoiler, this is a publicly available trailer that was released today. It's out on the internet now.
Yeah.
This is not spoiler material. There's a difference between things that are actual spoilers and things that are things you just don't want to hear yet because you're trying to stay away from as much info as possible.
Right.
So that's why we're talking about it. We don't consider it a spoiler if it's in a trailer. So that context given there. I was stunned by the Discovery being crash landed on a planet.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Mm-hmm. At some point, she's got to fly again because we see it.
Yes, we do.
In the trailer.
We do.
But there's a whole bunch of things suggested that I have a not so good feeling about. On Discovering Trek, we talk a lot about our predictions for the season. Mm-hmm. And if I had a prediction right now, I'm not going to name the character, but I think there's going to be a significant character death.
I don't like
just based on what we saw.
Yeah. Well, we got new characters to maybe take their place.
Never
could take the place. So Cleveland Booker's going to, a newcomer, Cleveland Booker, played, of course, by David Ajala, is going to be there. And we've already talked about Adira and Gray, the first non-binary and transgender characters that are going to be on Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Also showed that Burnham was having some hard time landing herself on that in that Red Angel suit there. She was all flailing and going about. So it's going to be good. I think there's going to be some great stuff. We saw some interesting scenes with Michelle Yeoh. Somebody saying that she has absolutely no authority here, so she decides to kick the crap out of the guy. So I thought that was a pretty good scene in the trailer as well.
Yep, that's always good.
It's always good to know that Michelle Yeoh is going to be in a show because there's going to be some good action, some good fisticuffs, and she's probably going to win.
Spoiler alert. There's your spoiler.
That's right. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, this is going to be a 32nd century Starfleet, which ought to be interesting. It is no longer a spoiler that there is going to be a new badge, a Starfleet Delta, as a result of where they are now. That'll be cool to see. I can't wait to add that to my collection from FanSets, guys. You know, someday. So yeah, very interesting. A great Star Trek day.
A great Star Trek day. We hope you all had a chance to celebrate the 54th anniversary of Star Trek. Here's to the next year and everything that it brings. That's the news for this week. We'll catch you again next week and also on Trek Geeks. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Coconut.